Hey guys, welcome back to another flashlight review. Today we're going to be looking at the Sofirn SC32. This is a common flashlight that you see here on Amazon, and one that Sofirn have released now for quite some time. I thought I would try this one out because I think it was just interesting having a kind of back switch on the end. Reminded me a little bit of the SC18, and I just wanted to see the performance and give it a spin. So like I mentioned, have used it for about a week now. I think it's a great little EDC flashlight, and it's actually the smallest 18650 light that I own. It's very bright for its size, and you can see here it uses something called a Fresnel lens, which is just as effective as a TIR for projecting a beam into the distance. I think the SC32, I mean, if we look at it, the battery is almost the same size as the flashlight. And you know, having that tail switch design also makes it less likely for the light to activate in your pocket. So that was one of the things that I liked about this light and the design. But let's get a bit more into the overall construction, and I'll give you a little bit of a close-up look at it as well. And you can see here it's got quite a rugged and a solid looking design. I wouldn't say it's chunky, but I don't know whether it's to do with this bezel design, this sort of crenulated design here on the front. But yeah, it does feel quite solid in the hand. If you dropped it, you know, that it would be able to stand up to a little bit of abuse. Up close here in camera, you know, you get this double-sided clip and USB-C charging port on the side that's covered there, sort of lifted off. It's quite a tight sort of seal as well. I like this design. Reminds me of some of the workhorse lights, newer workhorse lights like the FC13 that has this kind of design. And you've got a little charging light there to let you know what the battery voltage is. Sofirn SC32. It's got a rugged and solid looking design. I think it's great quality for the price. And you know, you've also got some interesting bezel cutouts that allow you to see when the light is switched on. You know, the knurling just runs in one direction, kind of smooth, but when you're holding it this way, it does provide a bit of friction there. Anodizing is fairly basic, so you know, you've got that Sofirn anodizing, which is slightly glossy but mostly matte black. Under the hood, you have an SST40 with a Fresnel lens. It's quite a unique feature. It's good to see that Sofirn's trying something new in their lights. Quite amazingly as well, you can actually remove the bezel without much effort, just unscrewable, and it's even lubricated. You can see, I mean, that little lens, it's only like a couple millimeters, 2 to 3 millimeters thick in there. Okay, these sort of rings, and the emitter here, you can see the SST40 sits just underneath the bezel. Like I said, the lens is very thin, keeps the length of the light down. There is no protective glass on the front of that lens, though. It's made of plastic. It's something to keep in mind, but it is recessed in there. It's almost got a little bit of a frosted look. It's not completely clear. Okay, it's slightly opaque, I suppose, in areas. You know, like I mentioned before, you do get this double-sided clip included with the flashlight. A few other things that you get included. I mean, this is the box, obviously, but you have a lanyard, you have a USB-C charging cable, you've also got a manual that's kind of just squeezed in there. The box looks a little bit like those workhorse boxes now. They've changed the design on them, but you also get, of course, a Sofirn cell in here, an 18650 cell, 3000 milliamp hour rechargeable cell. And it's a great little package, especially if you're not, you know, so into lights or you're just new to them. Comes with everything you need, and especially having that USB onboard, USB-C charging there as well. I mean, that's absolutely essential in my opinion for any EDC flashlight. Okay, I'm going to go through a quick UI demonstration for you. So turn on the light, you just press that tail switch on the back, and this sort of reminds me of the TS10's tail switch. It looks like the exact same design. Okay, so when you're unscrewing the light as well, mind you, you can only unscrew it from the head, replace the battery. The back is sealed in. But yeah, so you've got the light off, switch it on like that. To lock the light, you just press 4 times, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, the light will flash. Okay, and every time you press the button, it's going to flash to let you know that it's locked out. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Light goes into the lowest mode, so you can turn off, turn on again. You can also hold that button to access a moonlight mode, which is lower than the actual mode that we had before, the lowest ramp mode. Okay, so you can turn that light on by holding, okay, like that. If you turn it on and then press and hold that button, I've got it set on the continuous ramp, okay, so you can press and hold again to let it go down, continue going down like that. Okay, you can actually switch into step mode, so tap 4 times when the light is on, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, it sort of flashes at you, and then press and hold and it just flips in between those step modes. Okay, I prefer to have it on the smoothless ramp, just gives you more options to choose from in there. You can also access the strobe mode, just clicking 3 times, 1, 2, 3. Okay, like that, 1, 2, 3, and that's it. Yeah, you basically, if you're on turbo, you can double click like that, access turbo. When you press that button on the end again, it just goes back to the last mode. So say you're at this mode, you want to go turbo, double click like that, and then click again, and it returns to that last mode. You can also access turbo just by double clicking from off as well. Okay, so that's basically it. Just got some performance stats here on the screen, and you can see with the ceiling bounce test that the light slowly starts to ramp down, but holds mainly around that 90 to 100% lumen mark up until that 1 minute point, in which the light just ramps down completely to about 20% of its output. Ramps down quite heavily compared to some of my other lights. If you reactivate again about 2.5 minutes, you can see the light has picked up that it is hot and it ramps down again. I've reactivated that turbo straight after, ramps down. So there is some type of temperature control unit in there that measures the temperature of the flashlight. It's not just on some kind of timer. So you can see there, both on all these different occasions, ramps down to about 20%. Okay, and especially later on when the flashlight is pretty hot. So you got to remember this is a little flashlight, and the smaller the flashlight is, obviously with these high-powered LEDs, you're not really going to get sustained high lumens on these little lights. Let's have a look at the measurements here on turbo with my Opal Lightmaster Pro. And on turbo, I measured 230 meters of throw, which is so impressive for just a little flashlight like this that you can carry around in your pocket. You've got a CCT of 5363, so it's a little bit more on the warmer end, though the beam is kind of greenish in my opinion, and 62.8 for the color rendering index. Nothing special there. I was really surprised at the throw of this light, considering how small the bezel is. The spill blends nicely into the large hotspot, though I found that the outer edges of the light does have some discoloration, some artifacts due to the lens. Other considerations that you might want to be aware of, like I said before, the light ramps down quickly, especially after that first turbo activation, and produces significantly less lumens. You got to remember, it's a small host, it's unavoidable, but it would have been nice to see it being able to hold those lumens for a little bit longer. Another thing to keep in mind is that there is no momentary turbo mode, and this light has been marketed as a tactical flashlight, but I'd like that to be some kind of button here, maybe like a rubberized button, 2-stage button where you can half press it and access turbo mode on there. Some of these lights have a button here in the front and a button here at the back. I do think the SC32 is more suited for EDC carry. I wouldn't say it's a tactical flashlight because being able to classify it as tactical would mean a much more simple UI. There's too much going on, even though it is still fairly simple, but 3 modes and maybe like a momentary high or something like that is really all that you need in a tactical flashlight. So momentary turbo mode would be great to see on future Sofirn models. That would definitely bring it into that territory. Overall, if you're looking for a great value EDC flashlight that has everything included, this might be the one for you. It comes in one small package, and you can get it quite easily online through Amazon or a few different stores. Even the Sofirn store has it for cheaper. You can have a look at that as well. I will link the flashlight in the description if you want to check it out. If you have any questions, let me know as well in the comments. I'll do my best to get back to you. Surely I've missed out a few things there, or just some things that you want clarified. If you like the video, do me a favor, click that like button because it helps me to get my videos out to more people. And if you want to see me keep making more reviews, make sure you subscribe. Thanks for watching. Sofirn SC32, I'm going to put it straight onto turbo. And wow. I mean, I just can't believe this Fresnel lens, this little Fresnel lens, because when you take it apart, it's so thin. It's able to create a beam that throws so far. I mean, you've got on the ground as well, you can see quite a bit of spill. But most of the light is focused in the center of the beam. It's hitting those trees out the back. And if I turn it off, and you can sort of press and hold the button to ramp the flashlight up or down. Okay, ramp it right to the top, and then I can double click. Okay, there we go. It's really the top mode. Easily reaching the trees at the back, just tinting them. Easily reaching these ones here in the front, about 70 or so meters ahead of me. We'll go for a quick stroll.